Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead and raise that mic, but we do know how to project. We are teachers. When Steve and I first started dating, and we came together after having previously been married, and we've been married now almost 7 years, almost 8. Yeah. When Steve and I first started dating, I looked at him and said, "Do you want to go to church with me?" As two teachers at the same school, we were kind of trying to keep our relationship on the down low. And Steve said, "Well, maybe when we go public." Several months later, when we became engaged, I, as I often do, got right back to the point. "So, where are we going to go to church?" And Steve said,
My one moment here, being a recovering Catholic, and also having seen a few too many, Omen movies, I told her that it could not burn when I walked in.
Perhaps some of you have experienced being wounded in the church, or you understand that sentiment. You've experienced becoming disillusioned with religion, or sometimes especially with religious people. There's simply not enough time for Steve and I to share all of our experiences up here. We'd be here for a while, and I promised Cindy I wouldn't do that. But suffice to say, we've had our fair share of church experiences. And early last spring, I found myself the cheerleader for going to church, the one who had been pushing for us to get established in a church, to when we had our children, raise our children in the church. I was ready to throw in the towel permanently. I just felt that there was no place I could call home. There was no place where I was going to feel accepted. There was no place I would feel invested in, and I felt frustrated, and I was done. And it was at that time that I was sitting at a women's luncheon, and down the table from me at that women's luncheon was Linda Hooglin. And I was venting extensively about how I felt about church and the things that had been going on. And when I took a breath, which sometimes I don't, but I did in this case, when I took a breath, Linda said, "Liz, you should come to my church." And she was right. And it took me a few months, and it took Steve a few months, and we stared at each other, and we were like, are we going to go? Do we uproot the kids? But we decided to come and try Holy Comforter, and we found our home. Why Holy Comforter? Perhaps it was the friendly welcome we got from everyone when we walked in, including Fred and Linda when they greeted us. Perhaps it was the music and the scripture and the sermon that seemed especially chosen for us that day. Perhaps it was Cindy coming to greet us during the peace, or the time she took afterwards to pray with us as she recognized that we're going through struggles. Or just maybe it was the Darth Vader in the foyer that was just oh so cool. And invited our children down to the blast program where they were going to become part of the greatest force. My nerd was so excited at that point that I could have just put buns in my hair and become Princess Leia. It was cool. Whatever the case, Holy Comforter is the first church where Steve and I as adults have professed our faith. It is the first church where we have felt accepted and valued. It is the first church where we have watched our teenage daughter, Abby, soak in the Sunday morning experience and feel free to ask questions and engage in debate without worrying about being marginalized. And ultimately, she has made her own profession of faith. It is also the church where Steve and I have chosen to baptize our 3 youngest children, because we know that this church is where they will be nurtured and truly experience God's love. Finally, it is the first church where we have felt called to give of ourselves and our resources. Steve and I both sat through our fair share of sermons on giving, for building campaigns and requests for pledges. Typically, our first response has been, we're teachers, we have 5 kids, and we're trying to live paycheck to paycheck. But this time I was excited. I emailed Cindy to find out how I could make a pledge. Why? Let me assure you our financial situation has not changed. We're still teachers and we still have 5 children last time I checked. But we have felt loved. And that compels us to give of ourselves in return. So we look forward to many more years of growing in our faith, watching our children grow here, and investing in Holy Comforter as Holy Comforter invests in us.